Hey everybody, Brooks here. Thank you for taking a second to join me for today's 5 for 5. Hey, before I get started, let me remind you that once you're done with this video, not only today but all through this week, every week really, be sure to share them. Share them on social media or forward that email so that others can hopefully be encouraged by these. That's what we hope for as pastors when we do these 5 for 5s, is that we're able to encourage you and then also a lot of others as well. So I remember it was Christmas time. I was in seminary probably a little over 20 years ago up in Wake Forest, North Carolina. And it was one of my favorite times on the seminary calendar, and that was Christmas time. Exams were over, and I was in the lobby of the dorm where I was living at the time, this three-story building, and pretty much everybody had already emptied out and headed home for the holidays. So it was me and a buddy of mine. We were just talking in the lobby. His name was Todd. And I remember Todd had a desire. He was graduating from the undergrad, from the college with his undergrad degree. And he had a desire to go into ministry where he could do missions, but also be able to preach. And he had just had an opportunity open up his way, and he was having to make a decision about whether or not to accept it. 6 months of the year, he would be on the international mission field. 6 months of the year, he would be traveling stateside preaching. I mean, he could not have drawn this thing up any better. This was like the perfect opportunity. And he made a comment to me, and I still remember it. He said, "You know what? Sometimes I have a hard time accepting the fact that God just wants to bless me." Psalm 37:4 says, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart." And what we often do is we go running past the beginning of that verse, sprinting to the end where it says he'll give us the desires of our heart. And we begin to think up this divine wish list, right? This long list of things that we want for ourselves. Maybe a better job and more money and a bigger house and a nicer car. And we got this big old list of stuff we want. And we come to that verse and say, there you go, God, you said you're going to give me the desires of my heart. But that verse isn't designed for us to leapfrog over the beginning to get to the end. In fact, the beginning is the most important, where it says, delight yourself in the Lord. What I found is that sometimes those desires that we have, God does give them. And man, we should be so grateful for those moments. But other times, He redirects our heart and He changes our heart as we press in close to Him and delight in Him. And you know, we have to answer the question, well, then how do I delight in the Lord? Well, I think one way we do that is we just decide to enjoy Him. You know what? If you know Jesus, He is for you. He's not against you. And He wants you to enjoy Him. You can do that even today. And you're going to decide, you know what? It's not about the rules. It's about the relationship. And I'm just going to enjoy God today. He loves you so much. You can enjoy Him. Another thing that we can do is that we can ultimately decide that, you know, we can ask Him to change our hearts to match His desires, to mold us and to shape us, and to just really change our hearts into hearts that are hungry for more of Him. And He'll do that if we want Him to and if we ask Him to. But a third thing you can do today is just spend time with Him, right? Open His Word and soak in His Word and talk to Him. And if you're having a hard day, tell Him about it. If your boss is driving you crazy, talk to Him about that. If you've had a blessing, it's just a great day, talk to Him about that. I mean, spend time with Him and cultivate that relationship with Him where you delight in Him. And what you'll find is that many of those desires you have, hey, He might give them to you. And hopefully you'll praise Him for it. But what you also may find is as you press in close and live a life of surrender and delight in Him, that He's going to change your heart. And He's going to mold it to a point to where you want ultimately what He wants, because what He wants is going to be for your best. So delight in Him today. Praise Him when He gives you the desires of your heart. And be grateful when He changes your heart to match His desires for you. Hope you have a great day today.